Hello, Phil Cross here. I've just left Olot and I'm basically going to be crossing the Pyrenees into France and heading towards Nimes. And I was going to do the first leg of this journey listening to my music, but fuck me, these roads are awesome. So I thought I'd just stick the camera on so you could get the benefit of the roads as well. Because I think once I get into France, my route from sort of the bottom of the Pyrenees on the French side towards Nimes is going to be fairly sort of main road motorways type thing. Purely to sort of keep the travel time down a little bit. You know, I'm not looking to bust a gut every day. My ride from Nimes to Rennes will be motorways all the way, I think, just in order to make it, because I need to smash a few miles in order to get in the right place to meet some friends after that. But yeah, these roads are fucking incredible. Yeah, what was I gonna talk about? I had yet another sort of a epiphany of stuff when it comes to diet and what have you. Again, fuck off, Phil. More stuff about the diet, and look at this is fucking crazy. Yeah, it's more of a mindset thing, really. It's coming to that mindset. So I've literally just come out of the Olot hotel, having had breakfast there, and most of the hotels that I've booked for this journey have got breakfast included. But there's been a couple where you've got to pay the extra for the breakfast. I think the place I stayed at yesterday, not yesterday, the night before, in Huesca, it cost €7.50 for the breakfast. And then when you go down for it, you think, oh fucking hell, all I actually had was basically a bread roll and a hard-boiled egg, and it's cost €7.50. But then I did have 3 or 4 cups of coffee. So we're just leaving this here, guys. Oh yeah, look, fuck me, it's what are we local time? It's just turned 9 o'clock and he's already up here. I think it looks, by the look of it, he's been kicked out by a passing van and he's just waiting for his mates or something. But yeah, so it's sort of €7.50, but I did have sort of 3 or 4 cups of coffee. And I think when I talk about the mindset, it's more of getting into that view of, well, before the operation I'd have paid €7.50 for the breakfast and eaten what I can. You know, you probably would have eaten quite a lot more, but I'd have eaten what I can and come away from there feeling full. And I think, you've got to carry on with that kind of mindset. You know, I've paid for a breakfast, I've had a breakfast. Oh, these guys that kicked him out. Yeah, I've paid for a breakfast and I've had a breakfast. So, it's trying to get into that mindset of like it's costing me a fortune and I'm not actually eating what I used to. To be fair, what I did do, and what it's basically going back to old school, when I used to go away with my mates, I did exactly what we used to do then, and that is I've basically had my hard-boiled egg and my bread roll and my coffee, but I've also got myself an extra napkin and I've wrapped up another bread roll and another hard-boiled egg and squirreled that away, and that's come away with me on the bike. So when I had a little stop at some point, I've got the rest of my breakfast, if you like. But that's going back to the old days with a group of us when we used to go out, because we'd not know, in this sort of early days of travelling as a group, we didn't know at what point we'd be stopping and what would be available to us. And that's what I've done, really. I've brought away an extra little bit of breakfast with us. There's a point, when I came down for breakfast, bearing in mind I'm staying in, or Olot is a town within sort of the Catalan region, and I think the the Catalans consider themselves almost a separate entity from Spain. But he showed me this thing. I mean, it's just just so simple. But he's basically said, you know what we do with tomatoes here, and I was toasting a bit of what we at home called artisan bread, and what the Catalans probably just call bread, because the European bread is so different to ours at home. You know, it's they don't have any additives in it. It doesn't last all day before it goes stale. So I was toasting this bit of bread, and he's basically come along and he's chopped this tomato in half and explained that what you do is you rub the guts of it all over the toast and throw the skin in the bin, which is what I've done, and then you sprinkle a bit of olive oil on it and salt and pepper. And as simple as that sounds, it was actually quite nice. My wife's not very keen on tomatoes, and I've told her that she needs to learn how to do it without making as much mess as I did, because I would imagine there's a technique to it. But yeah, it was actually quite nice, and essentially it's almost like a little pizza without cheese, basically. Yeah, so that's it. The Catalan tomato on toast. So I'm going to leave you here because I want to speak about something else. Ta-da!